Well, good morning, and thank you so much for joining Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Vibe Talk is always about your being well. Today is Think About Thursday, and good morning to you, whoever is on our live. We wanted to take the opportunity to talk to you about standing in your truth. We welcome each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us, and remember that if you have any questions or comments, we can see your comments, and we're happy to welcome you. Think About Thursday is always something to give you some thought to. And when we're thinking, we love for you to think about thoughts that would certainly make the best of you. Today's thought is, strength comes from living your truth. To be true and authentic is your path to happiness, peace, and joy. You may be mocked by others, but they have no power over you, for you have discovered the power within. When you stand in your truth, that is commendable, and not allowing others to change your truth. I want you all to think about standing in your truth and what that actually means for you. Good morning and welcome to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. Good morning. We are here, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to really be talking about standing in your truth. Was there ever a time where you didn't exactly tell the truth about something? Maybe you felt fearful, and maybe it was just a little thing. We'd like to be able to talk about that today. What is something that you did not tell the truth about? There was a time when I actually led an old boyfriend of mine on and didn't really tell him the truth. And I actually went through with an engagement believing that I could continue on with the engagement. Well, what happened with that? I eventually broke it off, which to me was the right thing to do. So, when leading others, be truthful. Be truthful. Is that a hard thing for you all to do? Is that a hard thing for you all to do? I'm curious as to know, and I want to hear from you guys. So if you're brave enough to talk about it, is your truth hard to do and why? We'll be right back. You may text or call in. Whatever one is good for you, you may text or call in. And we're looking forward to hearing from all of you today. We're looking forward to it. So lines are open. We are on Facebook, and we're asking about your truth. A hard thing or an easy thing to stand in your truth. What is it like for you to be able to own your truth? Even with Vibe Talk is all about truthfulness. Truthfulness with yourself takes a lot. Good morning, Trish, and welcome to Facing the Lion by Vibe Talk Facing the Lion.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. So we're talking about truth. Do you think that it's easy to stand in your truth or not? What do you think and why?
To me, I think it depends on the situation for me. If I'm close to somebody and I feel like I should say something in that moment, then I would say it. But if I feel like it's going to affect them in a negative way, or they're going to see me as being rude, I hesitate a little bit before giving my truth.
That's natural. That's natural. I just told about one of my truths when I actually got engaged and let the person on to think that I was going to go through with the engagement. I knew long before that that person really wasn't for me. And I finally had to break it off because I was not standing in my truth. And to this day, I go back and I look at that and I realize the uneasiness of standing in your truth. Now, I am a straightforward person, but I don't like to hurt people. And this was a serious matter. So for me, it's best to just live in your truth. And we're going to find out why and how we gain strength from that. We're going to find out. We'll be right back. Saturday night. Come spend a smooth, chill evening with me. It's our new radio show, Vibe Talk After Dark. It's in affiliation with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Saturday night on Instagram and Facebook. Won't you join us for conversation, song dedication, and music? Good morning and welcome to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. We're so glad that you all can join us on this Think About Thursday. By the way, we are podcasting wherever you're listening to your podcast. We're streaming right now. We are live on the Facebook. And in case you guys have not noticed, on our Instagram page, we now have our podcast that are on there in case you miss us. So we're talking about standing in your truth, owning your truth, living in your truth. You would be surprised at yourself to find the answer. And at the end of this podcast, you will be able to take a deeper look at yourself. And that's what this is all about. Taking a look, taking a reflection, and using that lion power to think about our truth. Because we all own our truth in very different ways. Owning your truth, being authentic to yourself. Good morning, Maddie, and thank you for joining us. And we're asking the question, do you think that it's hard to own your truth? That's the question we're asking for those of you who are listening to our podcast. Do you think it's thumbs up? Okay, Maddie has joined us. Thank you, Maddie. If you're here and you are part of our live audience, you may call in directly from your Facebook page or Instagram pages, or call us directly, 661-503-8993. So, living in your true self would be based upon how you see yourself, your inner wisdom, how you measure opinions of others. Good morning. Is it Deshay? Good morning and welcome to our show. Where are you listening in from? What state? No addresses, please, when we ask you that. When we're asking you that. How many of you find it difficult to be truthful? Thank you so much for that, Patty. How many of you find it difficult to be truthful? Anybody? And good morning. Deshay, I hope I'm saying that right. Where are you? Oh, Texas. Hey. And I am from California, and my co-host is from
South Carolina.
Yeah. So you guys get the opportunity to hear us from all over. Do us a favor. Go and subscribe to our Facebook, or YouTube page. Facebook too. Instagram too. That way you guys won't miss a beat. And our new radio show is awesome. We have posted right now 8 shows that we've done. And you can answer questions right on our Facebook page. Is that correct, Trish?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, we love it. And Trish, I want to thank you personally for the new advertisement that you did. Go check it out, guys. Tell us what you think. So, when you embrace who you are and what you believe, you're accepting your truth. In fact, You're taking ownership of who you are and what you believe. Now, does it matter to you if other people don't agree with what is your truth? See, because if other people don't agree with you, are you allowing them to change what is your truth? Because we live in a world that if we're not in agreement with someone, we're not that popular by opinion. So how do you see yourself if I were to ask you to hold up a mirror and look at yourself? How does that change you? In fact, if you've got a mirror anywhere, I want you to hold that mirror up to look at you. Or I want you to look into the mirror and ask yourself, if you stood in your truth, how would you feel if others didn't agree with you? Trish, we're going to start with you. How would you feel if others didn't agree with what was your truth? How would that make you feel? And
I
we're going
would
to ask the audience the same thing.
I would still be in my truth, but I would try to see where they're coming from. But
Mm-hmm.
if they don't agree with me and I know what I'm saying and I know who I am, I don't allow their disagreements to change what I think.
Okay. And with me, I'm going to have to agree with you that their opinion of me does not change how I really see myself. And as I look into the mirror, I can be honest, like I just told you that reveal about me, and being engaged to someone that I had no intention of really wanting to marry. But the good thing about that is that I was able to break it off. Not as soon as it should have been. The idea to be married again was something that I really wanted to do. But then I had to ask myself, do I really love that person? Josh, good morning and welcome. So now, when you look deep inside of yourself, in fact, that's the mirror talk that we do. I work with individuals with a mirror. What that does is help you to look deeply inside of yourself as you are open and honest. And how many of us can be open and honest? Let me put it like this. How many of us want other people to be open and honest with you?
I do.
You want somebody to be open and honest? Okay. And for those of you who are listening for our live audience here, if you want somebody to be open and honest with you, should you expect the same from yourself? Expectation. Expectation. Should you expect that from yourself? Because hidden truths always come out. Good morning and welcome to our program, Vibe Talk, uh, Facing the Lion. We're live, my co-host and I, on Facebook, and we want you guys to join in the conversation. We're talking about standing in your truths. What truths have you all had to stand in? I already gave mine. Now, when you reflect deeply upon yourself, you begin to look at yourself. And why is that not as easy as you would believe? Because how many of us really look deeply into the mirror when we're getting dressed, when we're washing our face or brushing our teeth? Well, we don't really pay attention to those things, but I'm asking today that we look into a mirror of some sort. See, your reflection of yourself is who you see in that mirror. There is no one else that is in that mirror but yourself. No one else. Can you honestly say, deep inside of yourself, that you have stood in your truth? Good morning to those who are here with us. Let us know where you're from. And good morning. Welcome to our program. We are live on Facebook, and our direct connect is 661-503-8993. You can also direct connect with us right here on Facebook. We're here live if you want to come on over. And I see many of you have joined us and left, and that's okay. Being honest about who you are, your likes, your dislikes. There are still some people that can't be honest even about their phone number. There used to be a time I would go out and guys would ask you for your number. In fact, I was at the grocery store the other day, and a man asked for my number. He actually started to talk to me, and he said, "Well, can I have your number?" And I said, no, because I knew he was flirting with me, and I stood in my truth. But there are people who still lie about their phone numbers. They give fake numbers, and everyone knows who they are. And if you've ever done that before, why did you do that? That's the question. Living in your truth, we are going to be right back to discuss this in further details. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Feel free to be interactive and tell us your stories. Apple Music, YouTube, and Facebook and Instagram. Go give it a shot.
Come check us out. We're back. We are talking about standing in your truth. When we're standing in our truth, we are being real. How many of you have said, keeping it 100? That's my favorite line. Keeping it 100. Do you really keep it 100? Or are you still at that, not being real, fake? Because the opposite of real is fake. How many of you like fake people? Anybody? Anybody?
I do not.
Not like fake people. So I'd rather keep it 100% real, being real. Would you call yourself keeping it real? You're real. People know that when they deal with you, you are the real deal. Has that ever been said of anyone out there? We're going to learn a lot about that. We're going to learn by you looking at you, if you're still looking into the mirror, you're going to learn about your own personality. Regardless of any kind of pressure that you face, you're going to be honest with yourself and you're going to take responsibility. Just like me, taking responsibility for calling the engagement off. That still bothers me to this day, even though I did the right thing by calling it off, because I know that marriage is a serious thing. But here's the problem. Leading someone on is not being truthful. So when you're honest with yourself first and then with others, you are taking responsibility for who and what you are. So you don't expect to be requiring others to be honest when you can't be honest with yourself. The responsibility. Responsibility. We're going to be talking about what that means as you are responsible for you. Um, we did a personality role where we talked about taking our mask off. You know, people wear masks to hide who and what they really are inside. How many of you know people like that? They're not really who they say they are.
I do.
Yeah, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel anxious because I can't trust them because I know they're two-faced and they have two sides of them.
Yeah, there's another word, two-faced. Thank you for the usage of that. If you could write that down, let's look at ourselves, as if we are our own mirrors, and we should be. And this is not to be critical, but it's to help you to challenge yourself to be your authentic self. And it's not going to happen in one day. Why? Why are we the people that have to wear masks if that's what we're doing? What do you guys think? And we want feedback from all of you. Why do you think people don't live in their truth and hide who they are? What do you think some of the reasons are for that?
I think it's because they feel like others won't accept them for who they are, and they get that feeling that they can't be themselves in their circle wherever they are.
Yeah, yeah. Wanting to impress people. You ever get the feeling of that? You want to impress people? I'm going to be honest, I've never had that feeling. So I don't know what that's like. But I do know a lot about it. I have had people in my lifetime that wanted to impress others. They do certain things, they talk a certain way, and they want to impress others. That is not, ladies and gentlemen, standing in your truth. That's hiding your truth. Um, they're going against their true nature of themselves. Would you say that? Yeah, I'd say that. Um, you know, in the stretch of things, our daily lives, um, we need to be more accepting of ourselves. Why do I say that? Because if you can accept others, you should accept yourself. Accepting of yourself means giving yourself permission to be who and what you really are. We're living in a world where things are not real. So it gives us something to think about. When we are free to express ourselves, including our expectations, our ideas, that's true freedom. It isn't that you don't care about people. It's that you are standing in your truth. You know, a lot of people will show you photos of cars that they really don't own. A lot of people will show you photos of places and jets they really don't own. See, that's not standing in your truth. Please understand that. So we're going to look at what is real, since we live among the land of fake. And is everything fake? Because I don't want hate letters saying that Miss Nisi said everything was fake, because that's not true. We're living in a world where things are fake. So when we think about being authentic, if I want real crab, I would not go in the store and pick up imitation crab. Why would I not do that? Anybody's guess? Why would I not look for the imitation crab if I wanted to look for real crab?
Because it's not real?
It's fake. And I want the real thing. Some people will take the imitation crab because it's easier to get. Because crab these days are very expensive. What does that have to do with authenticity? Wanting to have the real thing. You're not going to bargain. You're not going to water down your truth. We want you to be able to live your truth by your values. What are your real values? Are you living in the shadow of other people? Or are you valuing what you'd like to do, whom you'd like to be, to please yourself? When you are true to yourself, you are under no pressure to be anything other than true to you. Yes, you, that person that is looking in the mirror. Being yourself and doing the mirror talk requires honesty. I always use this analogy. If you go in, and we all do this so we all can relate, of the following. You get up in the morning and you're going to wash your face. You're washing your face so that your face can be clean, right? If you've got sleepy crust in your eyes, you want to make sure it's out. And the reason you want to do that because you don't want anybody else to tell you that you've got sleep in your eye. Same with brushing your teeth. How many of you have really looked at yourself as you are brushing your teeth and the toothpaste comes running out of your mouth? I have to be graphic so that you understand to think about your authenticity. Toothpaste is running down your face. How many of you have had that happen? All of us. But see, we don't want anybody to see us like that, right? We don't want anybody to see us like that. So we clean that up, don't we? So if you see yourself in the not so present, clean it up. Come a little closer. I said, if you are seeing yourself in the light of not so presentable, clean yourself up. Because after all, you don't want anybody to see that. You want them to see you cleaned up and presentable. And that's what we have to do when it comes to ourselves, is to work on ourselves, because we don't want to see people to see us in our messy state. You know, it's like when people come to the door and you really don't want them to see you with messy hair. How many of you have messy hair when you wake up in the morning? Anybody?
I know I do.
Yeah. How do you feel when somebody knocks at the door?
I say, oh no, I gotta do my hair, or I gotta cover it up.
You immediately start to do something to make adjustments. And that's the point about Think About Thursday, when you think about yourself and yourself being honest and taking the steps to be responsible for standing in your truth. Also, doing the right thing. See, all of us can choose what is right or what is wrong. And maybe what my right is not what your right is. We all have different versions of what is right and what is wrong. But now, in your truth self, I want you to be able to think about taking a hard, long journey. Where you going? To yourself. That journey to yourself is going to be long and hard, because you're going to travel the roads of honesty street. And then after you cross honesty street, you're going to go through authentic way. Thank you so much for that. Good morning and welcome. Please tell us where you're listening in from. We are Facing the Lion. Vibe Talk, Facing the Lion. Thank you for joining us. So, Elle, as you are crossing these roads, what's eventually going to happen, you're going to think about road. You're eventually going to get there to be able to cross action way. You are now reaching opportunity roadway, because now you have the opportunity, as you started with hardest road, hardest journey, to look at yourself and have more opportunities available to you. Is it going to be hard? Yes, by all means. Has it been hard, as you have talked about standing in your truth? See, a lot of people say they stand in their truth. They go out, they will put on strikes. We've all seen it, people on the corner fighting for what is right, because they believe in whatever it is the cause for that. We don't cross the line. Here's why we don't cross their lines, is because they have a right to what they believe is their truth. You have a right to believe what is in your truth. For anybody that wonders why we don't cross picket lines, I just told you. Respecting others. So we're all going to respect each other and what your truth means to you. Now, remember the mirror that I asked you all to have or look at? How easy is it for you to look at the image and the reflection of you? Nobody else but you. How easy is that if you're doing that exercise? Do you trust yourself? And furthermore, what is your motive? Now, we're going to be right back because we're going to talk about our motives and our integrity. We're going to be right back. Stay tuned.
Always positive. And so I ask you today, as we are going to be facing our audience or challenges, what did you face this challenge?
Fridays is all about facing the lion challenges, and we're asking the question, what challenges have you faced during the week? That's on Fridays. Look for that on our podcast. YouTube, Facing the Lion. We're back. And you and I are engaged in a beautiful conversation on standing in our truth. When you are an authentic person, you are true to yourself. And when you're true to yourself, you begin to trust yourself and respect yourself for standing in your value. Now, who do you respect because they've stood in their values? Can you name somebody for standing in their truth? Who do you respect? I'm going to tell you right now, this is Black History Month, and you don't have to be Black to celebrate or know what Black history is all about. I respect each and every person that stood up for what they believed because they gained true freedom. Even though the slaves took them, they were free in their minds. I respect every person that has represented Black history. See, they gained real freedom while they were chained together, while they were beaten and whipped and sold, and their wives were sold into the owners, and their children were taken from them. Each of those people represents people that I can trust. You just got your answer to why we celebrate Black history. Because of respect for what people had to go through. Who do you respect? Anybody?
I respect my parents a lot because hearing their story and how they struggled together and they still stayed strong in their marriage and things like that. They've been married for 32 years, so it motivates me and I respect them a great deal because of that.
Love that. Thank you for that. So now, When you stand in your truth, you are a person of integrity. You're authentic. You're not a person that hesitates to do the right thing. And you never, ever, ever second guess yourself. When you think about your integrity toward yourself, who you are, what you are, and how and what you believe, it's all aligning perfectly for you. All of us face challenges. I haven't met one person in my lifetime that has not been challenged. Never take that for granted. But now, during your challenges, you have the ability to be able to face it head on. That, ladies and gentlemen, requires strength. In your being open to be able to challenge yourself to even cope instead of being slow about solution. On Fridays when you hear, and you can hear streaming now about our Finally Fridays, which we talk about lifetime stories of people that have overcome horrific, horrific tragedies. Have you found strength? Because I challenge you to go and listen to our Finally Fridays episodes. I guarantee you will find strength. What will it teach you? It will give you the ability to challenge yourself. When you're asking the question, how did they survive that? You come to realize that could be you or someone that you love. Think about that. Potential. Every person should realize their full potential without being told that they have potential, because all of us have it. The wonderful gift that we have been born with is the gift of potential. You have it, I have it, even a baby has it. You know, you have a baby, any of you new parents, any of you parents recognize what I'm going to say. You have a baby. And that baby, as that baby starts to grow, the first gaze is that they have the potential after coming out of your stomach, your womb, mothers and fathers. They have the potential to emotionally connect. Wow, that's a big word. Emotional connection. See, because some of us are not realizing our full potential. We say we can't, when we should cross can't out and say, I can and I will. I'll tell you a story, and many of you have probably heard this story. My oldest, I always needed to make sure that he understood that he could do his work at school. Wasn't that he had a learning disability, he just didn't want to apply himself. So one day I asked him, and I'll ask you the same thing, to hold up both of your hands. And I want you to hold them out where your palms are facing outwardly. Downwardly, but outwardly. And with your left hand, I want you to close your fist. Not tightly, just close your fist. And we're going to call that one can. I want you to take your closed fist that you just named can and hold it up. This is a real experience that I did with my oldest. Now, the other hand that you have still turned down, you're going to pick that up and you're going to call that one wheel. And you're going to close your fist gently to make a fist. And you're going to call that one wheel. You're going to hold now Will up. You see him? There's Will to my right and Can to my left. You put them together, and what do you have? Trish, what do you have?
You can and will.
Can and will. You see the potential? I remember closing his tiny fist and doing that with him several times. And I used to always say, take can and will with you wherever you go. The mind is powerful. The mind stands in its truth. The mind will believe anything that you tell him or it. Remember that. So I want you to realize your full potential. What is best for you. Don't allow anybody to choose what is best for you. Because I'd like to challenge all of those who are going around believing that God gave you authority to say what is best for another grown adult. Those of you who think that you are wielded by power, we're not talking about parents and children, because you still have a lot to learn, children. I'm talking about grown adults who are wielding their power to be able to think that they have the right to choose for you. You have full potential to decide what is best for you, the adult person. And with will and can, whatever is happening in your life right now, I want you to take control of it. Always carry can and will. You ever wonder why it's not will and can? That's another podcast. But it is something to think about, isn't it? How is your confidence right now as we speak, while you are standing in your truth, while you believe what you believe about you? How you doing? As you look in the mirror, do you trust yourself? Do you trust that today is going to be the day that you're going to make a decision? Because some people today are making life-changing decisions. I don't know if we give that much thought, but today somebody is making a life-changing decision. No fakery. Real life-changing decision. By the time you and I woke up today, decisions had to be made. That's something to think about. Because sometimes we're not giving any thought to it until it arises in our lap. But now, think about yourself and your life. Are you standing in your truth that your life can be happy? That you can be truly satisfied in your life? say seeing is believing. Right now, this very moment, I'm in a situation. What do I do about it? I face it. Because you see, the situation wouldn't keep happening if there wasn't something to learn from it. See, we blame ourselves, but when we look at the rationality of things, maybe it's in your life for a reason. What are you going to do about it? See, let that not make you feel like you're the worst person, or you don't feel good about what's happening. Whatever is in your life right now, take hand and wheel with you. How many of you have stress right this moment? If you're listening to this, I'd love for you to comment in the comment section wherever you're going to listen, because all of us are dealing with some sort of stress. Some of our levels of stress are way too high. Some of us are feeling stressed every single day. But now we take that strength and we're still true to ourselves, and we become either standing in our truth or people that we are not. Let's think about our truthfulness. Are we striving now to be truthful? Are we still living in our fakery or masquerading our fakery? Because sometimes we're facing people who are aggressive, judgmental, arrogant, critical. The list goes on and on and on and on. But now, when you are your true, authentic self, you have no regrets. You might think about decisions that you've had to make. Aren't you more grateful that you are standing in your truth? When I was a little girl, I used to feel so good if I told my parent the truth. If I told my mom the truth, I knew that there would be no consequence if I just told her the truth. But if I lied about something, I would have to tell, when your parents say you have to tell one lie after another, that's really true. For those of you who are not living in your truth, uh, I don't want to pick on Instagram, but I see a lot of this on Instagram. You know how you guys are posting, some of you are posting that you're eating the finest food and you look really good and you're so fine, and you're driving these rich cars. I'll tell you something. Is that your truth? Or are you trying to live like someone else and you don't really drive that fine car? In fact, that's not even your car. Because here's what happens. When you start living the lie, you've got to keep it up. What's the point? If you would have just been your authentic self, you wouldn't have to now go through that. Because people are going to see you after you posted all that stuff. And you know what they're going to ask you? So where's that nice car that you drove? Many of you are driving nice cars. There's nothing wrong with that. Let that be known. We're talking about the ones who are living to impress others. See, you're not so quick to put up your shack. You're not so quick to put up your car, your hoopty that won't start in the morning. And you're not so quick to let people know that you eat top ramen if you do. You want to impress others. Stop that. Because you've got nothing to do but to live your truth. So we are having conflict within ourselves. Conflict. How many of you have heard of conflict within your own self? Good morning, Justine. Good morning. Yeah, and welcome to the program. Where are you listening in from, please? And thank you. We're talking about being true to ourselves. And this is Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We're live. And you're from Delaware. So glad to have found you. Our question for today, is it easiest to stand in your truth? Why or why not? That's our question for today. But if you want to be authentic, your true self, that doesn't happen overnight. It's a process of discovering your real, true self. Your values. How important are your values to you? How important are they? Do you base them on how you feel, think, and act? Or are you worried about what the other person is going to say? I want you to think about setting your own personal goals and aligning yourself with the personal goals that you're making. When you think about decisions, are you making them according to how others feel? See, when I work with people, it's not about how I feel. I ask the question, how do you feel about it? See, talking to you personally. Thank you so much. And join in the conversation. Please see our Facebook page, our Instagram page. You guys are going to love it. We now are posting our conversations. So, what is the gap between you and your true self? The gap of knowing who you are right now versus who you will become in the long run. Are you wearing the mask when you go out to others? Maybe you don't want them to know that you eat French fries with your hands. So you pick up a fork. So you don't want anybody to see the messy sides of you. And none of us want that. Or are we being real? Thank you for that, Justine. Thank you. You know, sometimes we go out and we start being prim and proper, and those are places to do that, but at home, we don't really act like that. You know, if you want to really see a way to act, look at children. Children, you know, and this is humorous. For any of you that have been around children, got siblings or babies yourself, they act at the most inappropriate time. And they're not even kidding. You say, why is that kid screaming throughout the store? How many of you have heard that before?
I have.
Anybody? Yeah, how does it make you feel?
It makes me feel like, why? What's happening? I'm confused.
Yeah. Why don't they shut that kid up? I can hear him all the way. I'm in aisle 6 and I can hear him in aisle 20. See, he's being himself. You see, and even with him or her being themselves, there's the parent that has to put in between that child the person that they are versus the person that they're going to grow up to be. Am I making sense to anyone out there? Because if he's a grown adult acting like that, we've got a problem. So I'm talking to you. You have to close the gap. You have to identify who you are right now versus who you're going to be. I want you to think about that. Communicate, honestly. You know, we say in relationships, I want you to be honest. And I used to always say that. Well, honesty would be dishonesty is a deal breaker. I'm not going to have anything to do with you if I find out you lie. Well, if I'm requiring that my significant other does not lie or shouldn't lie to me, shouldn't I be the one that is honest if I'm requiring that? Makes sense, doesn't it? And it's very powerful, isn't it? We think about these things. Making assumptions. We assume things. See, when you're wearing a mask, somebody says, oh, that's not their real. That's not how they really do things. So we assume what? That you're fake. So I want you to be able to allow yourself, give yourself permission to be who you are. No judgment. Make an effort. Your self-confidence is a matter of you standing in your truth. Find one thing that you're doing and give yourself permission to embrace the good that you've done. And if you're not having any good things that you're doing, start with just one this week. Stand in your truth. You know, our emotions get the best of us. And when our emotion gets the best of us, we can't see the forest for the trees because we're clouded with these negative emotions. And it's like, oh my God, I can't even think. But you yourself, I want you to think about the emotions that you are feeling right now at this time. And whatever that emotion is, I want you to respect it. But I also want you, the next time someone else shows you that same emotion, you say, now, I understand that emotion. You know, Trish, you spoke about the illustration of the baby or the child screaming. You want to know why? That's called understanding, empathy, compassion. It's all coupled together. But if you want people to understand your emotions, you must be able to notice them. And I ask you today, what emotion are you feeling right now? If you're feeling frustration because you're in the middle of traffic, or frustrated because your boss is putting too much work on you, or if you're happy that something great happened to you, I want you to identify that and manage that emotion. Please, I want you to be thinking about that. I want you to be able to manage your thinking. We want want you to be able to stand in your true self. What is your emotion? How does your emotion reveal who you really are? Because some of you have emotions right now that you haven't even dealt with. I'll ask you how you're doing. Many of you cannot even answer correctly. But stand in your truth. Something is bothering you. You need to be able to express that, standing in your truth. We're going to be right back with Trisha's Treasures. We're so glad that you have joined us as a live audience. We want to thank all of you. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Cause we're vibetalkfacingthelionpodcast. Go check your favorite streaming platforms. Feel free to be interactive and tell us your stories. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, and it's so much more. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Go give it a shot. It's a
Vibe Talk After Dark, Saturdays on Instagram Live and our Facebook page. Song dedications, chill conversations, and smooth, chill music with me, your hostess. Vibe Talk After Dark. We're back, and we're going to turn it over to Trisha's Treasures.
Me personally, I love the fact of having the feeling that I can be myself with people that I trust. I love that, and I try to surround myself with people that allow me to be myself. And sometimes we disagree, and that's okay, because just because they respect my truth, it doesn't mean that my truth is their truth, and they're always going to agree with me. And because I respect that, I try to show compassion when they tell me something that they didn't like that I did to them. And because when I tell them something that I don't like what they did to me, I expect them to respect that and listen to that, because I would want them to respect me and listen to me. And it didn't take an overnight session for me to get to this mindset, because before then I would not be comfortable in being me. I would cringe at the thought of me showing my true self, so I would just be quiet. Like, I would be very quiet, and I wouldn't say much. I just listen to my friends talk, my old friends talk, and I wouldn't say anything because I'd overthink. I'd say, well, if I say this, I don't think they're gonna like that. Or if I said this, I think they're gonna look at me like I'm weird. And I grew to I grew to realize that me hiding who I am as a person, and me hiding my point of views, and hiding what I feel is wrong, and how I should express myself, that caused me to lose a lot of friends because when I got upset, it all came out when I got upset. So that is something I'm working on practicing, which is showing my emotions and expressing my truth and my honesty. And I'm also working on being confident in my truth because my truth is my power and it shows my ability in who I am and my character as a person. So know your truth, and if you feel like you can't express your truth, expressing your truth starts with you first before you do it for others. And that's how you know if someone is respecting you, by you respecting yourself.
That is true lion power. Thank you for that. If you want to see or hear more from Trisha's Treasures, just hashtag that. You can see a lot of her music as well, especially if you love music. Trisha's able to do music, and she is responsible for our opening and closing credits in many of our commercials. Thank you, Trish. And she'll put her information in the comments. That way you can go see what my co-host is all about. So as a wrap up, we want you to get to think about your authenticity, your values. Uh, how does it benefit you? Your true potential and your well-being. We also want you to know that your being is a lifelong journey. You're being what? You're being authentic to your wellness, to you. When you are able to identify, you're claiming your values, you are claiming who and what you want to be. You are living with integrity. You're able to communicate honestly. See, don't expect communication honestly if you're not willing to give yourself permission to do that. Sometimes we assume things that look like something and turn out to be another. Self-confidence and your emotions, knowing what they are, when they are, and how they are, communicating that. I wish you to live authentically. And our last question of the day. Trish, you want to ask it?
Sure. What have you learned and discovered about yourself today? And what was your experience like here today?
I will start. What I learned about myself is to admit that there wasn't always a time I stood in my true self. I gave you an example, or the audience an example of an engagement that I called off because I didn't have any intention of really marrying that person. And it wasn't at the time what I was looking for and why I wanted to be married. I had the wrong reasons. How I feel about this today, it did make me think about that. And it made me learn to be honest in my true self. I am a straightforward person, but I'm also a person that needed to get real with myself. I feel proud of myself today for admitting that. Trish, what did you learn and discover? about yourself. And anyone who is listening, please join in. You can comment on Facebook. You can comment on Instagram. You can comment on YouTube. Please join us when we ask these questions. We'd love to hear from you. Go ahead, Trish.
I learned that I should not be ashamed of myself if people do not agree or want to be like me. I am my own person, and I need to remind myself that I'm my own person, and because there's more people sitting at the popularity table, it doesn't make me any less. It just makes me me, and I need to accept that. And my experience here today, it was very reflective because I did a reality check on myself, because sometimes I think that the most popular things means that I'm doing something wrong because I'm underrated. But I have to realize that because I'm different, and because everybody doesn't believe in my truth, which is within my music, that doesn't mean that it's for nothing. It means that I am just me, and everybody's not going to like me, but I like me though, and I love me though. So that's all that should matter. So that was my experience here today.
Love that. Love that. You know, it's funny that you say that, and it's not like ha ha, but it brings new light, because sometimes when we look at our views and say, how many people really listen to the podcast? I'm just happy to have one person. And that has no bearing on whether people like you or not. That's just where we are. We've been here now 3 years, and people are still listening. And while I'm saying that, thank you for the new reel. I love it. I love the music that you put up. Please include that in our daily post. I loved it. Thank you. Great minds think alike. I want to thank all of you. My first thanks is to my amazing co-host. You're more amazing than you realize, with the creativity and the sense of bringing my vision to light. I thank you for that, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Um, we've been on a long journey with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. If you're out there, you're able to access us by means of commenting, by means of direct messaging us, sending us a message through our social media pages. And wow, we are growing. Go listen to our streams. Please be a part of our Facebook family, our YouTube family, and our Instagram families. And don't forget, Saturday night is what I'm loving. We didn't do one last Saturday because I was very ill, but they are up. All you have to do is hashtag Vibe Talk After Dark, or go to our YouTube pages. If you want to dedicate a song way before Saturday, or if you want me to say something over the air, a dedication, good news, something happy news, and whatever you want to talk about, catch us. You can voice mail us at 661-503-8993, or you can, while we're live, hit us up on Facebook and tell us what you'd like to hear. It's a smooth and chill night for Vibe Talk After Dark. Thanks, Trish, for being part of our family. Appreciate you and your family. By the way, I think we have somebody that's related to you that is now following us. Did you notice?
No, I didn't notice.
Yeah. Let me. What is this? Let me I'm going to look him up right now. And I just wanted to give him a special shout out because that means so much to us. Um, oh, I know it, Trish. Hold on just a minute, guys. Nigeria, Scott?
Yes, that's my brother.
Good. Welcome to our Vibe Talk family. And thank you for following us. I wish you all something to think about. Think about standing in your truths. And we'll see you back here next time. And Trish, again, thank you for all that you do. Thank you, and many thank yous to everyone out there that is listening to Vibe Talk. And those of you with Lion Courage that keep coming back to us, we're so grateful for you. Have a good day, everyone. Because I don't want your guests to make a resolution. I want you to think about I was really about to move and do I got the vibe with it. I'm really to the sun with it. I'm really looking around with it. Really got the vibe with it. To the sun with it. I'm really looking around with it. You can really see I'm telling you. When you get the vibe with it. Yeah. When you get the vibe with it. Yeah. I gotta just say something. It's about commitment.